sun is shining. It is a beautiful day in paradise, and we are going to be working on loading up some golf swing. This ball, this range ball, actually says Rough Rider. That's pretty gangster. I don't even know if I can hit that. I mean, cue up the DMX. Let's get to work. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to MyGolfDNA, where we help you get better at the game of golf by giving you all of the information you need as to what you're doing, why you're doing it, and most importantly, we show you how to get it done. Today is going to be a great day. It's going to be a beautiful day in paradise for all of us because we're going to help you start loading your golf swing up the proper way. We're going to start getting you to feel what it's like to get your big muscles activated early on in the golf swing so that you can turn into a power producing machine. So hopefully you guys are ready to take a ride. If you are brand new to the channel, please take a moment, go down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for me if you like today's video, and do us a favor. Let's see what predictions you all might have in the comments below on the US versus Europe in the Ryder Cup on European soil. As much as I should be cheering for Team USA, I think I just want to see some really good golf. And I think we're going to see some fireworks this weekend. And I know a lot of people at home are pretty upset about Captain Zach Johnson's picks, but listen, I played a lot of golf with Zach in the past, and Zach is a phenomenal guy, and he's put together a really good team, and I know he wants to win, so I think we're going to see a great weekend. Europe's got a good sort of format when it comes to team stuff, and they've got good mindset for it. So hopefully you guys are ready. Let's get to work on building a more powerful backswing that's ready for business. So when you hear the word efficiency in relationship to the golf swing, what comes to mind? Well, when I talk about the word efficiency, I think it's important for you to understand that I want all of you to be able to produce as much clubhead speed as you possibly can, but doing it in a way where you don't have all of this big, robust movement that could potentially be putting your body in harm's way. I want you to move the club in space quickly, but I want to make sure that you understand that the most important thing to me when it comes to instructing you how to play this game is that I give you information that's going to allow you to play this game day in and day out, that's not going to park you on the sidelines because you've blown out a knee or blown out a hip or you've hurt your back. That's super important in this process. And a lot of you at home don't move properly because either you haven't learned how to do it, you don't have the right trigger points, or you've had a fair amount of bad instruction. Now listen, I'm not here to badger or beat up other golf instruction, right? We're all here to help you get better at the game of golf. How we deliver our message is super important, but I want you to understand that when it comes to playing this game, you don't need as much hip rotation as a lot of these people are shilling in your direction. The hips need to be an active movement in the golf swing for sure, and your legs play a very specific role in the golf swing. They help us maintain stability and balance, and the hips help us produce a lot of power and speed. But you want to remember that you want stability from your hips. And if you watch the Ryder Cup at all this weekend, I hope you get a chance to watch it because I think it's going to be a doozy. I want you to watch every single player when they show you them from a down the line perspective. I want you to look at their trail leg at address, and I want you to notice that the back of the knee is generally going to be right over the center of the ankle. And I want you to watch the trail leg and the hips to the top of the backswing. What you're going to find is that most players are going to maintain a fair amount of flexion that they had at address to the top of the swing. What you're also going to find is that the hips are going to generally stop rotating when the lead arm is getting to about parallel to the ground. You'll see some players still have the hips rotating a fair amount or a little bit when the lead arm gets through that parallel to the ground position. But most of the players you're going to see, they're already starting to move back in the other direction. They're already starting to change the direction with weight shift. Weight shift is what starts the golf swing. Stability in the hips is what we have to have inside of that movement in order to be able to make sure that our hips don't over-rotate and we get into these dangerous positions that you see so many instructors still passing along. Now, why do I call it a dangerous position? Now, remember this, okay? Your brain responds to muscle tension signals, and your glutes are very good muscles for stability in your pelvis. When you take this trail leg and you start straightening it up, okay, to allow the hips to rotate further back into depth, yes, that does allow the hips to rotate, but when the hips become unstable and they over-rotate, your spine can over-rotate, your hands and arms can continue to get longer, and now you're in a position where you have to recover. What that looks like from a down the line perspective is when I take my right leg and I straighten it up, or I work on a center pivot sort of move where I'm just pulling this hip back into depth, and I haven't made any sort of weight shift onto the trail leg, what you're going to find is that you see this big old window that's popped open between my knees. You could probably drive a Mack truck through there. Now, This position right here is not only dangerous, but it's very difficult to recover from. What I mean is, if you look at my hips, they're probably, let's just say they're rotated 65 degrees. To get my hips from 65 degrees closed all the way over to where my hips are now open 35 to 45 degrees or so, and the time that the downswing actually occurs ain't gonna happen for a lot of you. That's a lot of really big, fast movement. So how I want you to practice this, okay, is the first thing that you need to make sure that you get is you wanna make sure that your knee flex is dialed in. When you're in your setup position, you want the back of the knee to be directly over the center of the ankle. Now, you're gonna hear me use the word pressure shift. Now, how I like to teach pressure shift here at MyGolfDNA is I like to get the hips to move in a dynamic fashion. I don't like them just to move in a lateral sense, and I don't like them just to move in a rotational sense. I like to have them balanced. Now, what I mean by pressure shift here is I want you to think about where your trail hip socket is, okay? And a good indicator of where that really is where you have the belt loop on your pants or your shorts here. Okay, that's generally speaking where the center of the hip socket is going to be. Okay, now if you're one of those people that wears sweatpants or stretchy pants, whatever, and you don't have belt loops, well, then find the pointy pelvic bone on the front of your body, and about 2 finger widths inside of that is the center of the hip socket, okay? Now, what I want you to do, without your head moving back away from the golf ball, is I want you to draw a diagonal line with your hip socket back towards your trail ankle. It's gonna be about 1 inch of movement or so. What you're gonna notice is that my head moved off the ball about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches or so. That right there, my lateral movement or horizontal movement is now done. Now I'm gonna work on keeping my hips from over-rotating from this point. So how you do this, again, when you hear me say the word pressure shift, is make sure that your head's not falling back. That would be too pronounced as far as trying to get your weight to go all the way back towards the heel. You wanna feel like your hip socket works back towards your trail ankle, and what you're gonna feel is, in this position, is you're gonna feel, if you were 50-50 at address, you're gonna feel about 70% of the weight move underneath your trail ankle. Now, here's the last piece of this, and I'm gonna teach you how to practice this. What you're gonna be trying to do as you make your full swing here and as you start to really turn your rib cage or your guts as much as you possibly can, is you're gonna try to maintain the flex in this trail leg, and you're gonna try to keep this trail knee facing forward. Your knees are not designed to rotate, okay? They're just not. They're a hinge joint, so they're good for flexion and extension. The knee generally has about 1 degree to 1.5 degrees of space in it. If you start letting it turn out and you're creating a lot of force with a golf club and you're not stabilizing your pelvis, you could deteriorate your knee very quickly, and I'm not here to hurt you, like you've heard me talk about many times. So what you're gonna be doing here is you're gonna be pressure shifting, and then you're gonna be really feeling that weight stay underneath your ankle joint, and you're gonna be maintaining the flex and keeping this thing facing forward. Now, how you're gonna practice is you're just gonna do some reps. After you make this pressure shift, what I want you to do is I want you to take your rib cage and I want you to wind it up as much as you possibly can. And when you do this on your very first rep, it's going to feel wild. So I'm gonna pressure shift. Okay, my golf swing feels insanely short. I feel contraction back here in my glute. I feel a little bit in my obliques, and I feel a little bit of stretch back in my lats. Those are very big muscles. Those are good muscles to use in the golf swing. Those are the big muscles, right? You use those muscles as substitute for the small muscles that you generally want to use through your hands and your arms, and now you got the first step into the world of efficiency. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly how to practice this stuff now. Remember, your goal in the practice session is to get somewhere between 100 to 150 reps done every time you go out there and practice this stuff. We're gonna front load our rep ratio today with a couple of reps where we're coming to a stopping point and really making sure that we check the checkpoints that I'm gonna list for you here. Once we get ourselves 100% aware of those, then we're gonna start making some practice swings without a stopping point, staying connected to the movements. And then if you're gonna be one of those people that wants to try to hit golf balls either into a net or on the driving range when you're doing this, then reward yourself by staying 100% committed through the set. If you feel like the set was a little bit off, or maybe you lost some focus, then start the next set over. Don't hit a golf ball. Be disciplined in the process, right? Don't go out there and try to expect that this stuff is gonna show up on the golf course ready for rock and roll, and all of a sudden you're gonna be out there, banging out birdies, high-fiving, running down the fairway. Take the time, go through the steps, right? We're gonna do a 2 to 1 to 1. 2 reps, focus points are this. We're gonna make sure that our back of our knee is directly over the center of the ankle. That's the first checkpoint. The second checkpoint, pressure shift, 70% of the weight moving through the ankle joint. The third checkpoint is maintaining the flex in the right leg or your trail leg and keeping it facing forward. And the final checkpoint is I want you to turn your guts as much as you possibly can and get your arms to stop moving when you can't turn anymore. Now, a lot of you are gonna feel very short with your golf swings. And you're gonna probably even hear me grimacing a little bit when I do this because, again, you're getting muscle tension signals. You're starting to feel what it's like to actually produce power from the big muscles in the body, okay? So I want you to go ahead and take your setup, back of the knee over the center of the ankle, little pressure shift, okay? Maintain the flex, turn your body and stop your arms, swing through. Okay, I was very connected to that set, so I'm gonna try to hit a shot. Still thinking about those focus points in that exact order. All right, folks, so there you have it. A simple way to start getting your golf swing going in the right order, and also being able to protect and preserve your body so that you don't have to sit on the sidelines, which is what it's all about. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the drill, and hopefully you guys enjoy the Ryder Cup. Let's get out there and start playing some great golf.